My name's Kim Ensign.
And I'm Sam Harris.
I'm Kate Pleasant.
I'm Todd England.
And I'm Cay Kolling.
And our topic is compact homes, and we just have a short video that explains compact homes.
We're heading to one of the most densely populated places in the world, Hong Kong. Look past the sea of people, and you'll discover that it has more to offer than just tall buildings. Surrounded by mountainous terrain and the South China Sea, Hong Kong is one of the busiest port cities. It is also a major business and cultural hub, a cosmopolitan center where East meets West. But with 7 million inhabitants, its most precious commodity is space. And the lack of space is what shaped architect Gary Chang's green philosophy.
I was studying architecture long before I enrolled in architecture. And it's a necessity for me because I have to learn how to cope with the tight space.
Following the Hong Kong principle of utilizing every inch of available space, Gary decided not to give up the tiny tenement apartment where he and his large family used to live.
One room for my parents and one room for the 3 younger sisters.
And in typical Hong Kong fashion, they also had a tenant who slept in the 3rd bedroom.
And actually, I have to stay in the living rooms, which is more or less like a corridor. It's a very common scene for most families in Hong Kong. People are living in a very tight space.
A lifetime experience of small space living allowed Gary to create a truly unique, eco-friendly residence. The most surprising aspect of this ultra-hip apartment is its size. Only 330 square feet.
Small area, but for us, small area means efficiency and user-friendliness.
And he sacrificed nothing in livability, nicknaming it Domestic Transformer. By using a futuristic sliding wall system, Gary can make any room anything he wants.
The house transforms, and I'm always here. I don't move. The house moves for me.
So what appears to be just a simple wall can be moved to reveal a linen closet, which in turn can be moved to reveal a soaker bathtub and a pull-down guest bed above. This ingenious use of space enables this apartment to have up to 24 different combinations. The tiny space is naturally bathed in a warm golden light that shines through the 3 floor-to-ceiling tinted windows.
Make me feel happy and warm. My home is always sunny, even in gloomy weather. I practically don't need to turn on any light most of the time.
Using his unique sliding wall system, one room can be quickly transformed into another.
Most of the walls could move, so there would be a lot of tracks on the ceiling and wheels on the floor. Actually, that's why I put a mirror there, to make the tracks become less conspicuous.
The mirrors not only create the illusion of more space, but offer an eco-advantage as well. The combined reflective metal and glass surfaces work to increase the light value within the apartment. So a slide here and a pull there, and Gary's bedroom takes shape.
It's very important that the bed disappears, because otherwise the bed is always occupying the most dominant area of the home, especially if it's so small.
After a good night's rest, it's time to head to the kitchen, which is found right behind the TV.
The kitchen, in terms of actual length, is pretty compact. It's only 2 meters wide. I'm able to stuff in all the necessary equipments, maximizing the space as well.
There is one room left that Gary still hasn't shown us. The screening room, equipped with its very own hammock. Wedged into the busy Hong Kong skyline, Gary Chang's domestic transformer is a technological marvel. And it also demonstrates the green principle that even a small space has huge eco possibilities.
Okay, that gives you kind of an idea of what a compact home is. A compact home, by definition, is a home that is 500 square feet or smaller. And the reasons for compact home is to save space and also to save on energy used and then energy and materials used to actually make the home. And the idea of compact homes came about for the idea of sustainability. You know, kind of in the new movement of, eco-friendly, it's kind of where compact homes have come. They want to use less materials, less of Earth's resources, and that's really why compact homes have become popular. just kind of a history of compact homes. It's not really a new idea. People haven't really been living in the huge houses that we might think of today as residencies. And space hasn't always really been considered a luxury. Trends in housing have really been going up in recent years. 1950, the average size house was only 983 square feet. And over the last couple of decades, that's been rising. And 2003, the average house was 2,000 square feet, and that's gone up since then. However, I think it's going back down again. And they kind of called this new trend for compact homes as the small house movement. You know, people have these large houses. You know, you think of the 3 bedrooms, the 2 bathrooms, and this whole small house movement has really started where they want a lot less space, so it's much more manageable and much more eco-friendly and much more cost-effective too. Materials.
Some of the materials that are used for compact homes are just like you would see in a typical house structure: wood, aluminum, stainless steel. And some of these new compact homes are also made from a better resource for the environment, like recycled paper and even straw. And like Sam said, the point of this is for energy saving and resource saving. You'll also see in compact homes, most of them use all LED lighting, low flush toilets, and a lot more of the newer technology within the home as a resource savings. And they can also be made from storage containers or shipping containers. You can also get kits to physically build your home yourself. And they also have kits of compact homes where it comes in a box and you push a couple things, nail some things, and it's a house. So I thought that was pretty cool. And you can see in the PowerPoint, there's one, the top one is actually made from aluminum. The outside is aluminum, but the inside is wood. And then the second one is just like a normal cabin. Where they're being used, the United States currently is Rhode Island and North Dakota, the Netherlands, the Swiss Alps, Mount Fuji, Austria, and Asia. And you can see in the PowerPoint, Texas, Canada, Japan, and the one on the bottom left is anywhere because it is actually on wheels. It can be towed behind a truck or an SUV.
The advantages, like we already had said a couple times, we've mentioned the sustainability, environmentally friendly, its construction, and price. These compact homes, which here, you can barely see it if you kind of follow this little bitty sidewalk. It's right there. They have a very small footprint, so they consume much less energy. And they, like she said, the LED lights, a lot of times they don't even come with lights. You provide your own lamp or whatever, and typically there's solar lighting for you to be able to use that as well. The building construction is pretty easy. You can have basically a crane bring a container to your property. You can get your little kit box like Kim was talking about. There are a variety of different options, but it's a relatively simple process as long as you have your plumbing and your electricity. You meet all the building code requirements and that type of thing. Pricing, generally speaking, anywhere from $36,000 to $100,000. There are some that are considerably cheaper, but they don't have all the amenities. If you did one without plumbing, it's considerably less. So I think this is the wave of the future. I see my vacation home here.
Although there's several advantages to owning a small compact home, there are some negative aspects that should be addressed before anyone wants to buy or purchase or build or purchase a compact home. The most obvious disadvantage would be reduced space for living. I mean, it's gonna impact comfort. It's gonna impact your ability to store stuff. I mean, we all have stuff. And it'll also reduce the amount of belongings you can have in your house. So there's lots of those types of things you need to consider before getting into one of these houses. Not only that, you have extremely small bathrooms usually, very small kitchens, kind of more like a kitchenette type situation where you wouldn't have a lot of counter space. Bathrooms are generally, well, the guy in our video had an actual tub, but generally they're the stand-up shower varieties, so you have to be able to live with that as well. Some people, especially like a couple that was going to move into one of these, would want to consider the possibility of bringing children into the family or pets, and that too could also impact their comfort immensely, you know, with children and pets and something, you know, that small. Sometimes it depends on the material they're also built out of. That looks like a pretty sturdy structure, but some of these small compact homes I've seen are built more for form than function. They look more artistic. So in those types of houses, they may use lighter weight materials. They may not be as sturdy. They may live in an environment where they don't need a durable house, but durability can also be an issue. Another thing is you could have some possible resistance from neighbors, or if you have, what do they call them in certain communities, you have like like a building association or a home association. They may not appreciate, you know, something like that amongst, you know, 3,000 square foot houses. And also you need to consider the local building codes, which generally stay the same within the region that you're in. They shouldn't change too much, but there may be some problems with the wiring or plumbing. It needs to be up to spec. And the last would be zoning laws. Generally they don't want, like when you have a certain size property, they want a certain size structure on it. So they don't want you to buy 5 acres of land and put a 300-foot structure on it. With, you know, they want you to use that land, and if you can't use all that land, they'll probably proportion it into 2 separate lots. So that's another thing you need to consider too. And that's it. That's all I have for disadvantages.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the technologies that they're integrating into these homes. So the first thing is obviously smart storage. As he showed you in the video, you have to have a variety of ways to store things since there's a lot less space. Richard Horton is one of the primary people that started building these a couple of years ago, maybe about 10 years ago. And he got his inspiration from an airplane bathroom. He said he liked the way things were stored, the compactness of the sinks and the toilet and things like that. So that's where he got the inspiration for his. So you see things like pull-down beds, smaller toilets and showers, and the LED lighting that we've talked about all along. That's something that you're going to use just for the smart lighting and the smart storage. There's also space-making features. I guess they give you the illusion of space. You saw in the video the gentleman that had the windows, you know, and mirrors. That's something they do a lot, as well as spiral staircases. So if you have multiple floors, the spiral staircases will save space and give the illusion that there is more space in the home. And then there's a lot of integrated and updated technology. So they've been integrating things like iPod docks, and you know, the flat screen TVs on the walls are already there when they built them in, and smaller appliances, you know, hot plates instead of full-on stoves, and smaller microwaves. Everything's just a little bit smaller, but a little bit upgraded and newer technologies, because what you're not spending in price, you can get in quality here, because you can do a little bit more quality since there's not so much to spend on materials. And then there's also the use of recycled materials. So they talked a little bit about the recycled paper earlier for one of the materials. You can actually build a recycled paper home for $5,000. So using those materials, I don't think that includes the plumbing or anything like that, but like we said, you know, the more amenities, the more the cost. So they're also using recycled shipping containers. So what they use to ship cars and things like that overseas, you can buy those and recycle them and use them as homes. And steel boxes is another one. That's what this photo is here. It's of one that was made into steel boxes, and they just, excuse me, let that come in to the home. When they stacked them up, they kind of left them overlapping so you could use the shelves and the boxes as storage. So that's kind of some of the technologies that they're using now, among many, many others that we couldn't list here, but those are the basic ones. So that's pretty much it. Do you guys have any questions?
Clap our hands for you first. So And is this on? Push something here, I know. Well, is there any optimum value for savings so that people would really want to do this? Money-wise, or what would be the...
One of the big ones that they're talking about now is the energy savings. In some of these compact homes, it only costs $300 a year to run your entire electricity for the whole thing, for the year, so $300.
$300 a year?
Yeah, and some of those larger homes we were talking about, 2,000 and 3,000 square feet, you're talking about $300 a month. So these run somewhat like $300 a year. Also, the cost to build is, all of them are lower than $100,000 for the most part if you're not adding on and integrating some really, really high-end stuff. So,
since I have the microphone, I'll ask another one. Any studies were done on the effect on the psychological effects or the about and your type, like?
Yes, there's a lot of information out there. I don't know if there's been any official studies. I didn't see any. I don't know if you guys did. Okay, Kim did a little bit, but what I saw was just a little bit about people blogging about having lived in there. And I mean, if you're not ready for it, it can play a little bit of trick on the mind because we're used to having our luxurious space. But I'll let Kim talk a little bit more about what she found.
I found a lot of people who are single or don't have a family, they found it much more convenient to live in a smaller home or a compact home because they didn't feel as lonely as if they were to have that huge open space that you'll find in your typical home.
So those are some of the advantages.
Now, since I have the microphone still, nobody asked for it, I'll ask another question. People, when they do something bad, they are put in a prison. And usually the prison is called cell. And usually you see it's very tight and very economic. So how would you compare these to imprisoning oneself? For what reason?
Well, I'd say you don't have to wash your hands or face in the toilet like you do in a jail cell. And if you don't know, the toilets and the sinks are the same. And you're allowed outside, actually. You have, I compare it to living in a small apartment, and I don't consider my apartment a jail cell by any means. So it depends on how you decorate it and how you outfit it. I have thought about that as well, because I actually really want to build one of these. And one of my main concerns was, is it going to be so confining that I'm going to go crazy, cabin fever type, situations. But really, like what Kim said, people like myself who live by themselves would find it probably a little more comforting, really. It's more cozy, I guess, than confining.
And usually it's a certain type of people that can handle that. They have that mentality. I want to live in a small space.
I would want to live in one with 5 kids and pets. I mean, that this wouldn't work out.
Since I have the microphone. So I'll try to remember my question. I got it. So the question was, yes, there is a website, social website called MySpace. And everybody was happy at the beginning or the start of this, and one of the main attraction of it is give me space. I mean, this is my space, and not only give me space, but it's my space. Now, the guy who was moving the walls, it is a complicated system to move all these pieces, and it's heavy, not light, and he is strong now, but how about when you have arthritis and other stuff?
I was thinking in the article that was along with the video that moving the walls were not heavy. The way it was built, it was made to more easily glide than pull. Okay. If that makes sense.
And not all of them have those moving wall systems. You can build them that just are, basic rooms.
4 walls.
Yeah.
And you'd want to consider, like, if you were going to live in this house till old age, you'd probably want to consider that when you're designing it, so you don't make it hard to, like, you probably want a spiral staircase in it, and you probably want a little more room to move around. So that's something else you'd want to consider.
Okay. Quick question. Now, somebody mentioned that the price of the home was $36,000 to $100,000 for a room that's 400 square feet or less than 500 square feet. My shed is about 600 square feet, and it only cost me less than $5,000 to buy my shed, and it would probably cost me another $1,000 to make it look like a house if I wanted to, or a man cave. Don't you think this is a bit pricey for recycled material?
It depends
or?
on what you use. Actually, you can use steel containers, which is actually very popular, and I'm actually trying to get into that after I graduate here. You can buy steel shipping containers, they're 8 by 20 feet for $2,000. That is a shell structure that you can build upon, you can weld in other structures. So basically, and each 8 by 40 or 8 by 20 is 150 square feet. So say you have 3 of those, that's $6,000 invested in the shell of your house. And then you can dump the rest of that money into the interior. It's just ingenuity. I mean, like your shed probably doesn't have insulation, probably doesn't have drywall.
Now, I'm not disagreeing with you there, but I'm saying a pre-made kit for $36,000 for 400 square feet when you go rent an efficiency apartment somewhere down the road.
It can be pricey.
Don't you think it's a bit pricey for
It can.
what
I
you're
mean, if
seeing
you
now?
purchase one, but I think the way to go is really to construct it yourself.
Well, and I think that when people who, investment-wise, it's a very poor idea. The people who do it aren't doing it to like gain equity and for resale down the line, because for resale value, the thing's not going to make you anything.
Right, which led into my second question is, to me it would seem like it'd be fine if you were putting it at a beach for a quick stop or something to rest.
A lot of what you're seeing now is where it's really becoming popular is Japan, where these people own their own homes and have owned their own lots, and their homes are dilapidating. But in order to stay in the city and have these same lots and close to the amenities of the city, they have to put a new structure right there on their lot, and those lots are so small that they're using compact homes to replace them. Some of them in Japan can go upwards of $170,000, which I think is out of control. But they want to build on that lot, so that's what they're paying to stay there.
Okay.
How safe these homes are during the natural disaster and like flood, earthquakes?
A lot of them are actually as safe as your regular constructed homes, because they have to meet earthquake codes, natural disaster codes, depending on where you're building at. So a lot of them follow building codes just like regular structures. So they're just as safe as any other structure being built.
And the steel container structures, which are very popular, especially out west, they're giant steel boxes, 14-gauge steel boxes, and they're extremely durable. They ship stuff from China to the U.S. So it depends on the material you use, I guess, really is what it comes down to in the region.
If you're using recycled paper, recycled paper.
Right.
Okay.
Very safe with fire.
Green. Let us take a photo of the group and then ask group number 5 to get ready and go.